Yeah, greetings. Shall we start now? Shall we start? So I think uh, we discussed this one, right, about bracketing methods and open methods. So bracketing methods always converges if we trap the root between two limits within an interval such that the function is continuous within that interval. So as we are trapping the root, so convergence is guaranteed. Okay, if you go to open methods, you don't trap the root often. So initial guesses maybe one or two, whatever. So we often don't trap the root. And also there are situations where we can trap as well, but more often whenever we trap roots, we take them as bracketing methods. So under bracketing methods, convergence is guaranteed, but at slow pace. When we say slow, it takes more number of iterations to find out a solution. You see, we just coined the word iteration cause. So these are iterative based methods. So we are trying to find out solution based on iterations, iteration after iteration after iteration. So it's time consuming. Okay, bracketing methods will take more iterations to get answer. In open methods, solution may converge or diverge, but if it converges fast. Okay. See, a solution may diverge in open methods because we don't trap the root often. See, trapping the root is this. Are you able to hear me? Are you able to hear me? Are you able to hear
Yes,
me?
sir.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So trap the root. See, bracketing methods usually they trap the root, but what we said, open methods usually we don't trap. One second, let me take some. I need something. Okay, nothing is required. One second. One second. I need something. Okay, so let me take my pen. Oh. Are you seeing the screen? Yeah?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, for example, you have a function like this. You have this is a function x-axis and say f of x, and this is a true value because this function is passing through x-axis, and this is a solution, or I say true value. Okay. So now I'm going to trap the root. So you can trap the root. So I can take one limit here, other limit. So otherwise you can take a as, see sometimes I take a as this, x is means lower limit, b as upper limit. It's up to you. If you want to take xlx, you go with it. Sometimes I go for ab, sometimes I go for xlx, don't mind. You can take anything, whatever you want. So sometimes I'm comfortable with this a and b. See, now we are trapping the root. See, the root, this guy is in between A and B. Yes or not? The root is in between A and B. This is my root value. This is my root. It's in between A and B, and this is called, so X true is trapped. is trapped between A and B. So therefore, solution converges. That means you can definitely find the solution, but it takes more number of iterations to reach this value from either ends. All right, and that's what we have learned with these two cases: bisection method and open method. All right. So now we also understood about these things. So that is, we are seeing here the methods used for solving equations numerically. You have bracketing, and of course we saw these things. And one of the first methods we have bisection method. So of course you don't have this in the syllabus, incremental search method. This is a flaw for most of the problem solving applications. There are certain flaws with this. So anyways, it's not in syllabus, but we will check this in our CM lab once. So this first point of course is not required for you, just leave it. Okay, now the second point is important. If your function changes sign over an interval, the function value at the midpoint is evaluated. So this is the estimate. Okay, so like this you may not understand. Let me solve a problem for this. So let me take a problem and let me give you some algorithm steps how to find solution using bisection method. All right, how to find solution using bisection method. Say you have a function x and this is a y is equal to f of x as a function. This is abscissa and this is ordinate. Okay, you may have some function like this or this way. Now in this case f of a is positive, right? F of a is positive, f of b is now negative. Now if I take one more function like this, some second function, in this case f of a is negative, this one f of a is negative, this case f of b is positive. That means you just tell me whenever we find this, when if see I take f of a and f of b, I just multiply them, f of a multiplied by f of b. If it is less than 0, then there must be root between a and b, right? Yes or not? If f of a times f of b is less than 0, then there must be root between a and b. Agree?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And also same thing holds here. Here f of a less than 0, it's greater than 0. If I take its product again, I get less than 0. So therefore the true root is here. So this is the true root in this case. Okay, I have like this. So now we will adapt this method like this. I'll discard this. I'll go back here. So I'll just give some steps, and we will try to knuckle down later. See, for example, I will make use of this bisection method. You just take algorithm steps. Okay, so I take algo steps. Let me take algorithm steps. Let me use this. Okay, first one, let me give in simple words. This is my algorithm. Okay, you choose the first interval. Please take down, choose the first interval by finding points, what you call lower limit and upper limit. I'll take lower limit as a by finding points a and b. Okay, such that by finding points a and b, uh, such that a solution exists when I write b slash w, I mean that's like between, okay, between them. So what you call, this means that, sorry, I'll take another color for change. So what I have, this means that I can say f of a multiplied by f of b, and this must be less than 0. Agree? I'm just giving you the first step, okay? All right? This is step 1. Now, here you go. This is the decider, okay? Now, as we are using iterative based algorithms, so we need to calculate estimate with each and every iteration. So calculate the first estimate. You have to do this. Calculate the first estimate of the numerical solution. Calculate the first estimate of the numerical solution. I'll just label this as like this, xns1. Ns indicates, see in subscript I have ns indicates numerical solution. So we are going to raise, always we are going to raise between true solution and numerical solution. So which one is exact here? XTS or XNS? Which is exact? Which is exact, XTS or XNS? XTS is true solution and NS is numerical solution. According to your view, which is an exact one?
True, sir.
Yes, XTS, right? So this is generally exact. Our ultimate goal is to reach exactness. But of course, for simple problems we may reach, but for difficult problems, this numerical solution may be approximately equal to XNS, may not be exactly equal, okay? So anyways, so calculate the first estimate. The important point is this estimation. Estimation means according to the form, in the very first iteration, you're going to get some answer, okay, for the true value. That means in the very first estimation, your numerical solution may be very far from this. In second iteration, you're just coming somewhat closer. In third, little closer. In fourth, means even more closer. In fifth, say more and more closer, like that. So you're reaching from very far to a closer or approximately equal to the true value. Okay. So I'm starting my journey with first estimate. So bisection, the name itself indicates just take a division. Okay. So what I have the lower limit and I have the upper limit. So a plus b by 2. Agree? So this is the first estimate. Of course, every time we take estimate like this only. In every iteration, this estimation remains, I mean, this formula remains same, but a and b values will change. Okay? This is say my first iteration like this I can take down. Now third point is again crucial. So I'll take another ink. So third point is this. So calculate, so determine otherwise, determine whether the true solution, I say XTS, whether the true solution is between A and XNS1. Okay, is between A and XNS1, or I say between XNS1 and B. Okay, so this is done by checking the sign of the product. Okay, so this is done. You remember this algorithm steps, you can do anything, that's it. This is done by checking the sign the sign of the product, the sign of the product, what you call like f of a multiplied by f of x n s 1. Okay, so this part is important. Now if, let me use another color, I'll come to white again. Now if f of a multiplied by f of x n s 1 is less than 0, now you tell me the true solution is between where? Guesses? The true solution is between where? Is between where and where? Yes?
A and X and S, sir.
Very good. It's between. That's great. So this is between A and X and S1. Now if, all right, so if, what do you think of this? If f of A multiplied by f of x and s1 is greater than 0, then what happens? Then what happens?
X and S1 and B, sir.
Very
Solution
good.
B.
The true solution is between x and s1 and b. That's great. Don't worry, others, if you don't understand, don't worry, we will have this problem now. Okay, and that's it. So the last step is this, and the fourth step we are going to jolt out is, I'll take another color. I've used all colors. Okay, so no color is okay. I'll take this. I can't do anything. I have to use this. Select. Oh my god, this is too much dark. I'll take green. So select the sub interval. Select the sub interval that contains the sub interval that contains the true solution. And that means whether it is a2 x n s1, okay, or whether it is x n s1 to b. Just select this subinterval that contains the true solution. This is okay. As the new interval, every time the interval changes, I'll just explain this, what is what, don't worry. As the new interval, I take closed brackets, okay, including AB, that's the meaning. And now, once you have this, and now you should go back to step number 2. In step 2, what are you doing? You're estimating, okay? My step 2 is this. So once you have decided the new values for A and B, again you should find, the second estimate, the third estimate, so on you do. First estimate you have done so far, so okay. Now finally what you have is this: steps 2 through 4, okay, are repeated until, so in the examination they'll give this, until a specified tolerance, okay. So you'll come to know what is this specified tolerance little later. So they must give you where you have to stop your iterations, okay. So there must be some stopping criterion, because these are iterative based algorithms, or of course these are numerical algorithms. That means you may not really reach the exact value. So therefore examiner must give you the specified tolerance. Until you reach the tolerance, you have to keep on iterate. The moment you think you reach the tolerance, you can come out of it, okay. So that's it. So since a specified tolerance or error bound is attained, sometimes they use the word tolerance, or they may use the word error bound is retained. Okay. So how many of you understood these 4 steps? How many of you understood these steps here as it is? Anyone? How many of you understood these 4 steps? Choose the first interval by finding points. Could you raise your hands? Like how many of you understood the steps? I don't ask you how and all those things. I just want to confirm whether or not you understood the steps. Choose the first interval by finding points A and B such that a solution must be between them. That means this has to be satisfied. Now, once you have this stuff, then you have to calculate the first estimate like that. Now, determine whether the true solution is between A and xns1, between xns1 and B. This is done by checking the sign of the product, and so on. So my question to you is, how many of you understood the steps exactly? Just raise your hands. How many of you didn't understand the steps as it is? Please raise your hands, at least for this. How many of you didn't understand the steps as it is? Just raise your hand. Not a problem, please. Okay, see, the thing is that I am new to you, and of course, you are new to me. I think there is no rapport as of now between you and me. But before you come and join in a course, you should know what kind of faculty he or she is, and how we must behave, and how we have to respond all these things. Okay, please, you must know at least one should have that skills. If you don't respond, as I told you, I'm so mad. I just live in the middle just like that. I don't know what's really bothering you, okay? When I ask you something, just what the hell or havoc it is, respond at the same time if yes or no. It doesn't mean that everybody should come up with an answer. Yeah, I never demand anything from you like that. When, when I ask you yes or no, please take a lead and just tell me yes or no. That's it. I don't want anything else from you. As I told you already, we are in virtual class mode, so I can't see your faces. Okay, at the same time, I can't see your faces, so I can't really, conclude anything. If you don't understand things, and if I keep explaining things from my end, then what's the use? So please, you have to acknowledge. I don't know you are testing my patience. So see, I just don't want to throw any words in the I mean in the initial run, please. So I'm just maintaining my patience, okay? So please don't rake my patience. You can't really bear that output. So please don't do that. Let me let me anyways, how many of you didn't understand here as it is, or how many of you understood? Please raise your hands. How many of you didn't understand that? I just don't ask you why all those things. I just want the conformity from your end.
Understood, sir.
Yeah.
Understood, sir.
Good, sir.
No, I just asked you to raise your hands. That's it. I'm not asking you anything else. So raising hands indicate what? Understood or not?
Understood, sir.
Okay.
Understood.
Okay, most of you didn't understand. Okay, I don't know whether they're sitting in front of system or not. I don't know, but the thing is, I really want to maintain good terms with students like you, but circumstances don't allow every time. Okay, so because of negligence, or because of you may be fearful to answer, or you may hesitate to answer, or you may not know the answer, whatever that seems carelessness or recklessness. So please don't fall under such, in that. See, when I usually, the main problem is I have less patience. Okay, that's the main problem. So please, uh, your timely response is required. I'm not asking you to load some lorry with some bags, or unload lorry with some bags, like that. I'm just asking you whether you understood or not. Say yes or no. Just raise your hands or down your hands, whatever. Please just support. And what about others? Are you there in front of system, or you're elsewhere? So you have also laboratory as well. I think this semester you're going to hit colleges. I think you're going to, come to colleges soon. So for sure, thing is that we don't have any physical interactions, or physical communication. So that's the problem. Students are not knowing that, like, who is who and all. So please, अरे ना क्वेश्चन सबको कर दो भाई. I'm not so great. I'm just normal. Yeah, I'm a normal assistant professor in this department, and that's it. Nothing more, and nothing else more. It's very, and nothing more than this. But you will come to know only if you see someone physically. Okay, just virtual mode. Anyways, okay. Most of you, I think, 60% of you raised your hands that you understood the steps, and remaining not. That's fine, not a problem. In one situation, I feel like I may not be audible. Okay, so I'm thinking like that. So I just want to test, because if you don't answer to anything, I may think that I'm not audible to you. I'm elsewhere. Okay. Now with this one figure, I hope everybody will understand. Okay, so let me take a lead. So when can I say I have a solution? For example, you have a function, say f of x. Okay, when can I say I have a solution here? At x equal to xt, f of xt equal to what? 0. F of x equal to 0 only when x equal to xt, right? Yes or not? Xt is true value, true solution. If I take xns, numerical solution, after certain number of iterations, we came to this xns. Okay, this f of xns may be approximately 0, or I can say f of xns, this may be approximately equal to some epsilon. Okay, you can put down your hands. So epsilon, where epsilon is very small, where epsilon is a very small quantity. Okay, because we have some error bound, right? And that error bound is what, difference between this epsilon and this 0. And we should see to that difference is very small. Okay, and there how we can give some stopping criterion. So stopping criterion must be required up to where we have to take iterations. That's okay, that's the stuff. I don't know whether my what you call my stuff is. Do you see? Are you seeing bright screen or dull screen here? Please confirm whether you are seeing bright screen or dull screen. Are you seeing a bright screen
Yes, sir.
or dull
Black
screen?
screen, sir.
We
Yeah,
can see what you are writing, sir.
you can see, but okay. But whether you are seeing a dull screen or bright screen, are you seeing some bright screen? Good.
Bright screen only, sir.
Okay.
Sir,
Okay, then fine. So, anyways, I reduced my color from my end. It will reflect me, not you. That's great. So what is my first step? My first step is choose the first interval by finding points A and B such that some solution must exist between them. This means that, okay, anyways, let me draw the figure first. I'll just give you a clear picture. Let me give you a clear picture of what is happening with this. Okay, so let me draw. Let me take a ruler. Okay. So, okay, I have my abscissa, my domain stuff is x, and my range stuff is f of x. So let me take a function like this. Okay, this is my function. See, my function is repeating. Say I have some function, something like this. Okay, but I'm not taking the left side. I'm just considering this solid blue line only. Okay, this part of the function. And so now what I do, let me take, this is my lower limit a, and this is my upper limit b. All right. So at a I found f of a. So f of a is negative or positive now? F of a is negative or positive?
Yes.
Negative.
Okay, negative. And I'll take at b I'll find f of b. So f of b is positive, right? All right. So I'll take another color. So this is my true solution. So that fact I know. So this guy is my true solution. So I write it down like XTS. All right. Now I'll go for first iteration. In the iteration number 1, I'll take first iteration. In the iteration number 1, what do? I go for step number 2. So I identified step number 1. I found f of a, f of b. I took their product. Okay. So let me remove this stuff from this. Remove all the stuff. My first step is what? My first step is I need to verify whether this product is less than 0 or greater than. See, if the product is greater than 0, that's it. And that's the end. You can't use any bisection method to get the results, okay? So anyways, if f of a times f of b is less than 0, then I can go for step number 2. Yes or not? So the product is of course less than 0 we obtain. So therefore, we go for first iteration. See, in the iteration number 1, what step you have? Step number 2 is what? Calculate the first estimate of the numerical solution, that is a plus b by 2. Agree? So I'll take my first interval like this. So let me take my interval as it is. So what do I do now? I'll just take only this one, okay? I don't go for any range. I'll just take only domain values. So just to make you understand like what's happening, okay? I'm just taking only domain stuff. All right, and this is my a and this is my b. According to step number 2, what do you have? I must find a plus b by 2. All right, and this is equal to what? First numerical estimation. Agree? Agree?
Yes,
So
sir.
where do you
Yes, sir.
so where do
Yes,
you
sir.
get that? Okay, so where do you get that? So this is of course your true value is somewhere here. So your true value is something this. This is your true value. I have somewhere here. Okay, let me take somewhere. Let me push it for. I'm sorry. Control. Okay. All right. So okay. Let me take. Let me shift to this for clarity point of view. Let me show my true value is somewhere here. Okay. This is my XTS. Now a plus b by 2 means exactly I must come half, right? I must meet the middle zone. So this is my interval for now. See, the beauty of bisection method is that with each and every iteration, the interval will be reduced exactly to half. That's the meaning of pi. Exactly divide the interval into two. I mean, into two halves. In one half, there must be the answer again. Now, a plus b by 2 means where do I come now and draw? I'll take which color I can take. I'll take this color. So this is my a plus b by 2. Agree? The middle. Okay. The midpoint between a and b is a plus b by 2. And this is what xns1. Yes or not? That cross mark is my xns1. So this is my first estimate. So let me write down like this. So this is my first estimate, this one. Agree? Or you can take like this if you want. Exactly the midpoint between A and P, the interval, okay? The true value is this. The first numerical estimate is that. Now what about second iteration here? So again, now iteration number, step number 2 is done. What is step number 3? Determine whether the true solution is between A and XNS1 or between XNS1 and B. Okay. See how many values I have now. I have here A, I have XNS1. Okay. And forget about XTS, that's a true value. Now how many you have? A, XNS1 and XNS1 and B. Yes or not? Now you have to
Yes,
decide
sir.
among these three. Now what do I do is that now, of course, this is my true solution. Okay, this is my true solution. My true solution is somewhere here, this line. So let me take it again. I'll just take now again, I'll take green. All right. So this is my x-axis. Now, okay, step number 3 says that I don't determine whether the two solutions between A and XNS1 or B. Now you tell me where would be, okay, you may not know now exactly. If according to step number 3, now I take another color, white. If f of a multiplied by f of xns1 less than 0, then the answer is in between what here? Then I must say that the true value is in between a and xns1. That's it. All right. Or if it is if f of a multiplied by f of xns1, if f of a multiplied by f of xns1 greater than 0, that means there is no true value, there is no answer between root value between a and xns1. That means the answer must be between where and where now? Between xns1 and b. Yes or not? Are you able to understand this? Because there must be answer, because you have trapped your answer already between a and b. So first of all, there must be answer. If this is less than 0, the answer is in between a and xns1 only. If it is greater than 0, the answer is between xns1 and b. Are you able to understand these things? Now,
Yes, sir.
if in the question, if you get this case, if f of a multiplied by f of xns1, for example, you obtain that as greater than 0, then the answer is between xns1 and b. That fact you are familiar with now. Okay, that means once I get this, once I think, once you get this condition, then there is no doubt answer will be within this xns1 and b only. That's it. That means now this is b, so take b as it is. Now what do you modify xns1? Xns1 now you will have to take it as a. Are you getting this? The new, see, the new a and b values are, of course, in this case b is b only, but xns1 became a now. That means now my interval is only this one. This is my only interval. Okay, otherwise I'll do one thing. I'll not what you call, Okay, so now what I do, I don't take this shade here. This shade may confuse you. So this okay. Otherwise, I'll do one thing. I'll just give shade. What I can do, I can give shade. So let me take shade now. Uh, I'm able to draw. I'm unable to draw this. It's not working. Okay, I cannot use keyboard as well. Anyways, I have to compromise now. Let me take some other color. Okay, the root is in between this. Agree? Now this interval is succeeded. That means you have root in between A and B now. Now you tell me, in the iteration number 1 you are here. In the iteration number 2 you came down to this. Now when you come to iteration number 2, the searching interval reduced to half. Yes or not? When you come to iteration number 2, the searching interval reduces to half now. Now again what you do? Again you have to go to step number 2. In step number 2, what do you have? Again you have to find the estimate. This time you are finding second estimate, okay? So for second estimate, you found the values for A and B. So now you find again A plus B by 2. So A plus B by 2, we will get somewhere here now. If I take A plus B by 2, I will be somewhere here. So this is my xns2. Okay, now what about true value? True value is somewhere here now. My true value is somewhere here. This is my true value. Okay, now you tell me again. Now again what you do, I can do something like this here. For example, again I'll find step number 3. My step number 3 is what? Again the same thing. If f of a multiplied by this time what? xns2. Agree? If f of a times f of xns2 is less than 0, then the answer must be between a and ns2. If f of a times this one greater than 0, then the answer must be in between x ns2 and b. Agree? For the time being, we assume this condition is true. If this condition is satisfied, the answer is in between where and where now? A and xns2. That means there is only answer here. I will draw it again now. Let me draw it again. So I'll take green as usual. This is my x-axis. So let me take white. Okay, so I don't require all these things now, not required. Okay, okay, so it's getting stuck from my end. Sorry, it's getting stuck. All right, so this is x. Now, if for the time being, if I assume this condition we obtained, okay, so if f of a times that is less than 0, then the answer is in between a and xns2. All right, so this is my a and this is my xns2. Agree or not? Yeah, so I'll take down my a as a. My a is this. And now what do I take xns2 as?
B, sir.
Yeah, now xns2 became b. In this example, we are assuming so, okay? xns2 became b. So every time we have to, for every iteration, we have to make a and b ready. So a and b may change for each and every iteration. A and b won't fix forever for all iterations, okay? Now, you have your true solution here. So this guy is your xts. Anyways, now if I again take a plus b by 2, now where do I reach? Now a plus b by 2, I'll reach somewhere here. Okay, and now this fellow is like XNS3. Are you able to understand this? This fellow is XNS3. Now again, what do? I'll do this again. F of A multiplied by F of XNS3. Okay. Now you tell me with experience, now what are you going to get, whether less than 0, greater than 0? Because now, okay, I don't know anything again. Now less than 0, one more case is greater than 0. If less than 0, the root is in between where and where, A and XNS3. Otherwise, root is in between. According to the figure, tell me which condition satisfies now?
Greater than 0.
Greater than 0.
Correct, greater than 0, because the figure clearly says that XTS, the white one, is beyond XNS3. So therefore, this fellow must satisfy. So the root is in between where and where now, XNS3. So the root is in between XNS3 and B. Now in this process, this guy becomes what now? A. Okay, B is B, but XNS3 becomes A. So therefore, again, I just see. Now when you compare iteration number 2 and 3, again interval reduced to half, right? Of course, my interval reduced to half again. That means I don't require to take the entire stuff. So this complete stuff I removed now. Now we are here now. When I go to this one and when I go for this condition X, now this is my A. So this is my A and this is my B. See, that means out of this complete stuff, this portion is removed, this is removed, and out of this complete stuff, this portion is removed. Now we are here. Okay, now according to this projection, okay, some estimation otherwise, I'll come here. So this white one is my true value. This is my true. So this is my true solution. If you take A plus B by 2, then what do you get here? If I take A plus B by 2, approximately same, right? Maybe in this case, if I take XNS4, XNS4 is equal to again A plus B by 2. So obviously you'll be somewhere here now. So maybe you're somewhere here. So this guy is maybe XNS4. Agree? Now in this case, XNS4 is approximately or closely equal to XTS. Yes or not? So this is how you can reach to an answer. Are you all with me? Did you understand everything to whatever we did? So in each and every iteration, you are reducing the interval to half. This interval, so this big interval became half here, iteration number 2, and further reduced to half. So this portion is gone, completely gone, this portion not there. Similarly, of course, whatever. So when compared to this portion is gone. When compared to this portion is gone. Now you have this. Are you able to understand this? And so on. If you think there is no good approximation between XNS and XT, then you have to further iterate. And this is what bisection method is. But where do you stop? This I will discuss in next class. Means when do you stop this? When do you stop this method? Means how long you have to go? How long you have to go? Yeah, until we can say f of XNS equal to 0, right? Until we reach this, because anyways f of xt must be 0. Until f of XNS is equal to 0, we have to keep on do. But in reality, hardly we achieve this f of XNS equal to 0. So therefore, what you do in reality, we have the questioner, the examiner, or the industry fellow, what they will do is they will give us some stopping criteria. So they will give this condition to us, okay? And this one is like given like epsilon s. Maybe epsilon s is given to you something like some 0.001 percentage. Until you reach epsilon s is equal to 0.001, see, you will understand this percentage everything later. a percentage, you should keep on iterate, okay? So we will find epsilon A, all these things. This is, of course, this is stopping criterion. This is approximate relative error. So we will find these things in percentages. In the next class, we will understand all these things. How do we set this stop? I mean, how do we make use of the stopping criterion, or where do you stop, or when do you stop? All these things we'll understand. So we will introduce the new concept called as tolerance. Okay, tolerance in the solution, and also we have tolerance with the function, with the given function itself. And we will take percentage relative error, okay, and also we will take percentage true error. This, of course, we cannot find. To find this, we should know true value. See, the thing is that if you know true value, what is the need of going for all these steps here? Not required, right? Usually we don't know the true value. So therefore, of course, in terms of formula, you'll understand. This is, we can't do this, but we will always find these things. Percentage relative error and tolerance in solution. We exercise these two methods as a stopping criterion, and then we'll understand up to where we have to take iterations. Are we clear so far? I'm going to stop now. Do you have any questions to ask up to this? Is it okay with you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So no questions, then we'll stop. Okay, thank you very much. See, the thing is that, see, if you want to enjoy completely here. If you want to focus completely. As you are powerful youth, don't incline only towards studies. Okay, also give a room for enjoyment. Also enjoy yourself. Okay, don't bore yourself and only, this sluggish learning or mundane lectures or whatever it is, just don't go for it. Sometimes you go out, you talk to your friends, you go to movies, yeah, go and enjoy outside, have some chit chat outside, come again, okay, make some trips, enjoy yourself, and then when it's time to study, just study. That's it. ఏదైనా చేస్తే ఫుల్గా చేయాలి, సగం సగం చేయకూడదు. If you want to be good like, say, Abdul Kalam. If you want to be bad like, say, Osama bin Laden. In middle, okay? But please don't become like Osama bin Laden. Always be good like Abdul Kalam. అది ఓన్లీ ఎగ్జాంపుల్కి అవన్నీ. పొరపాటున మీరు మోటివేట్ అయిపోయి అలాంటి కానీ మీరు చేసినాక అంతే. ఇంకా ఆల్వేస్ బీ గుడ్ ఇయర్, ఓకే? So whatever you do always full. Okay, don't do anything half. Half knowledge is always dangerous. Yes or not? Yes or no? Even now you have no answer.